So all these celebrities will be against Ice Cube because he has a black agenda. And you all don't get it. The vote is not going to save black people. There are things that black people can do without the vote. All these celebrities telling you to vote, all these athletes telling you to vote, have they built Black Wall Street? Have they built another Harlem? What have these athletes, entertainers really done for the black community? What have they built for the black community? Tell me.
I just told you a little while ago, these leaders that they call leaders, this included Lena Horne, this included Dick Gregory, and this included comedians, comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the white community and over the black community by the white community and have been made celebrities and usually say exactly what they know that the white man wants to hear.
This system functions off of us being at the bottom. Do you understand that? If we are not at the bottom, the system collapses. Now, when I said, let's boycott the entire system, you all told me no. When I said, let's withhold the vote, you all told me no. When I said, let's boycott these companies financially, company by company, and do it every quarter, you all said no. And I broke down how it would work, and you all said no. And then most of you all have the audacity, have the nerve to just say, I'm a Trump supporter. It is no different than someone saying, oh, you're anti-Semitic. It's a phrase that's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous phrase. What we should have been doing is had enough character and stopped hiding behind the vote. We've been hiding behind the vote. And we hid behind the vote because we didn't have any character. We knew it was wrong, so we started saying stuff like, it's what our ancestors died for. Or we picking the lesser of two evils. Those are cop-outs. That's a coward's way out. Because we knew a long time ago we should have shut this entire system down, and we didn't. We did not shut this entire system down. So a lot of what's going on rests on us.
If this man is elected, we're not standing by no more getting killed. We're not scared of anybody standing up and standing by. We're on the verge of a race war.
Just one thing. Yeah. You asked her, Trump divided people. Trump doesn't divide the people. Fake news divide people.
If
black voter
people in America want a race war, they'll not vote. I'm an independent, first of all. When I vote, I try to do what's best for my community.
Let's be clear on that. You're not standing behind your decision to hold your vote anymore. You want people to go out there and vote.
It would be irresponsible of me to have us hold our vote hostage. But it would also be irresponsible of me to just let this moment go by. The world is watching, and not do everything I can to make sure that going forth that we're a part of the narrative, that we own our politics. And so I'm launching one of the...
All of a sudden, Puffy is tough now. All of a sudden, P. Diddy has some character. All of a sudden, Sean Combs is a stand-up guy. What are we talking about? What are we doing? You can't trust these celebrities. Dear black people, white people are not arming themselves, building bunkers in their house, and storing tanks in their backyard, preparing for you. These white people are not thinking about you. Dear black people, these white people that you think are thinking about you are not thinking about you. They do not have a Hummer covered in camouflage. They are not stockpiling weapons to fight black people. Dear black people, please do not listen to P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, or anybody telling you that they are preparing for a race war. They are not preparing for a race war. They are preparing to fight against the deep state. That has nothing to do with you. My advice is that you all stand aside and let them have at it. And then after that, we can sift through the ashes, pick up the pieces, and reclaim our land. But please do not fall for this race war tactic. These white people are not thinking about you. They have been preparing for this for years. They were not preparing for you. We are not organized. We are not a threat. We don't know who we are. We are economically disadvantaged. We are politically disadvantaged. We are socially disadvantaged. We don't pose a threat to white people. The only way we pose a threat to white America is if we wake up one day, realize who we are, and just unplug from this system. If we do that, then we'll be a threat. But until then, we're not. So please stop listening to this race war nonsense. Let you all tell it, America is racist. So if America is racist, how are we going to win a race war? We are only 12% of the population. So it's not going to be a race war. It would be a race slaughter. But don't be afraid. Don't get your mind in a frenzy. It's not going to happen. They are not preparing for you or I. They are preparing to fight against the deep state.
And so I'm launching one of the boldest movements that I've ever launched. And it's called Our Black Party.
Okay.
It's time for us to have our own black political party, unapologetically. Because this election is an example. This is a tipping point because they haven't talked about the youth and they haven't talked about black people.
African Americans built this nation through generations of blood, sweat, and tears. And you, like all of our citizens, are entitled to a government that puts your needs, your interests, and your families first. African Americans built this nation. African Americans built this nation. African Americans built this nation. You built this nation. You know, you're just starting to get real credit for that. Okay, I don't know if you know that. You're just starting to get, you built the nation. We all built it, but you were such a massive part of it. Bigger than you were given credit for. Does that make sense? Right?
I think it's disgusting that the media won't even give you a voice, won't even give you a chance to be heard. I think that's extremely whack.
Well, we also think it's very promising. It must mean they see something worth being worried about. So we know that when it gets out there and the right people hear us, and we know it every day on the streets, we see it. So we believe more are going to come around. And then we're going to shame them and say, you know, we were on the Breakfast Club and you haven't covered us yet. So we'll let them know today.
But through generations of blood, sweat, and tears, and you deserve a government that defends your interests, protects your families, and cares for our own citizens first. 15-year-old Alfonso Hill, he's an Eagle Scout from Hubert, North Carolina. I'll be going to North Carolina.
I'd like to thank God, my family, and mentors for their continued support throughout my journey.
In 1955, one champion of civil rights was a student taking a train from Nashville to Houston when the conductor ordered her to leave the seat immediately because of the color of her skin, if you can believe that. Gertrude Jane Holliday Stone refused. Her belongings were stolen and she was threatened with arrest, but she just sat and she defied this horrible order and grave injustice. She did not give up her seat. She wouldn't give it up. And I just met her, by the way, and I say they had a lot of problems. They had a lot of problems. They weren't going to win that.
And these same people love Trump. Now they hate Trump. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear another celebrity bash Trump. Not another one. Y'all are selling y'all soul for much less. Y'all been sold the people out. Putting all this trash out. Putting all this music and artistry, this trash out. Condemning our people. Flooding these young minds with that garbage. Don't tell me nothing about Trump. Don't tell me anything about Trump when y'all working for the system. You crazy. These same celebrities are working for the very system that we supposed to be fighting against.
Ticket, and he says, you've got to move to the Jim Crow coach. And I looked at him and I said, I'm not moving.
And they haven't talked about black people. I haven't even heard them talk about Latinos.
Fuimos aquí para dejarles saber que nosotros los hispanos no estamos a favor.
El evento final que es electoral. Venimos de Venezuela para venir a votar por Biden.
El socialismo es un tema que motiva a muchos votantes hispanos en el sur de la Florida. Decenas.
No me creo la mentira que están poniendo en televisión. Y aunque digan lo que digan, mujeres por Donald Trump, la buena vida por Trump, la economía por Trump. No sé tú, pero yo voy a votar por Donald Trump. Ay, 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 por Dios. Yo voy a votar.
They're not even talking about us. They're in a reality fucking freak show playing a game and people are losing their lives. And so that's why this time is so important. And this time for us to mobilize and to not be scared and to do.
Y'all are listening to P. Diddy? Y'all are listening to Puffy. When did he become a revolutionary? When? When did Puffy become a revolutionary? When? When did these entertainers become revolutionaries? I'll tell you. They became revolutionaries when white people told them, the white people in power said, okay, you all can stunt now. You all can act woke. You all can be conscious. You all can protest now. You all can revolt. You all can put on a show now. That's why.
You got to have a model that every black can tie into. A model for reparations. Now, my model's a little different from everyone else's, and that's because I'm outside the box. I'm trying to pull everybody else outside if I can get them. Now, most people are going to try to follow the Jewish reparations model or the Japanese model. I'm following the Indian model. The Indians are the most appropriate model if you want to track down, doing anything to get reparations of black folk. Why? Because you see, only American Indians and black folk were spelled out in the Constitution. The Indians own reservations and black folk. There's a direct lineage between those two groups. And if you really want to track and get reparations, the easiest and quickest way is to go find out what happened to American Indians, what benefits they got, and track it. In my new book called Power Numbers, it takes you through every one of those steps. You can follow it. If you pick that up, you can come right to reparations very quickly, because it'll be very difficult for the government to deny black folk for the same thing they're giving the Indians. So when you hear people talking about how bad off Indians are, first thing you say, fine, if Indians that bad off, put us as black folk in the same status with the Indians. We'll take that.